I didn't think I was going to like these as much as I do. Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here coming at you with another Sprue review video. Today, yes, we are looking at the all-new Ogor Mawtribes army set. Oh boy. Yes, Games Workshop have been very kind and they've sent me a copy of the box to review. So, that's exactly what we're doing. And, well, when they first announced these, I really liked the look of them, but I didn't want to love them, if you see what I mean. Like, I think the Ogres stuff all looked great. And I didn't want to be as big a fan as I am of them, if that makes any sense. I was like, these are fantastic. I don't want to love them. And yet. So yeah, having spent time with this box, I'm in love. I genuinely love this range of miniatures. I think, well, firstly, I think painting them helped. Building and painting them, I should say. Building and painting them helped because the build is very, very, very nice, and painting them it's a breath of fresh air in the sense that they're just all big, you know. I mean, like, painting big miniatures can sometimes be a bit of a chore, but like these guys are just the right side of big, and as a consequence it makes painting them just quite fun, honestly. Like, and as time has gone on, it's one of those things where I've looked at this set of miniatures and gone, yeah, they're really cool. And now I'm like, where have you been all my life? It's very special. It's a very special time. I finally found my destruction army, you know? Like, we've been on this journey a couple of times now throughout my time in Age of Sigmar over the past 10 years now, or however long it's been. Stormcast, obviously, for Grand Alliance Order, and Slaves to Darkness for Chaos. Pretty predictable choices there. But then for Death, it was Flesh Eater Courts. And now for Destruction, it's Ogor Mawtribes. And I'm just really, really, really impressed. Because this isn't our first foray into Ogor Mawtribes. No, we've done the Bloodpelt Hunter. We've done a Frostlord on Stonehorn as well here on the channel. And, well, now we've got all this new stuff. It's gorgeous and I love it. So very shortly I'm going to bring you on this journey of having found my latest passion in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. But before we do that, please do leave a like on the video. Comment below, are you excited for Ogor Mawtribes? Trust me, like, if you're looking at it and thinking that looks good, it only gets better from here, you know? So, yeah, be like me if you want. And of course, do please hit that subscribe button just below. We're heading towards 200,000. We're a long way off from 200,000, but that's where we're heading. So come with me on a journey through time and a significant amount of space, because they're big miniatures. Here we go then. It is a big moment in Age of Sigmar. But first, we've got to build them. Then we're going to paint them. Yes, it is the all-new Ogor Mawtribes, the army set. Here it is. Oh boy, what a big, beautiful box. I love all of these miniatures. I think these are absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to get my hands on all of the sprues. But before we do that, let's just have a quick look at the contents. In here we have 3 Iron Guts, 10 Gluttons, a Tyrant, 2 Maulbeast Cavalry. We have the Battle Tome and 52 War Scroll cards as well. So there's a ton of stuff here for the Ogor Mawtribes. So let's get it open and have a look. So here is a big old tray of sprues. So first up we have our, well, that's got to be the Iron Guts, right? With those big, big, big weapons. They look fantastic. Mold lines look pretty good on them as well. So Iron Guts first. There's our Cavalry. And that's got to be maybe more Iron Guts. Maybe Cavalry, I don't know. That's got to be Cavalry. We've got then the stuff for the Gluttons. We should have some duplicate sprues in here. I imagine the block of 10 is actually 2 duplicate sets of sprues. So we shall
let's have a little further investigating down here. We have a... Oh, this is a... There we go. Got it. Got a card insert, of course. And then we have a folio, which is already open. There we go, of the Ogre Mawtribes. Oh boy, look at that. Wow. That is gorgeous. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. But, let's see what else is hiding away inside here. We got some large oval bases, and we got some 40mm bases, and a 50mm base by the looks of things. So, yeah, there we go. And it's folio time. Here it is. It's absolutely spectacular, that cover art. I love that. The back's really cool as well. Lovely. Alright, here we go. Let's have a look. We have... Oh, that is one of the thickest instruction manuals I've ever seen. Wow. A5 size. Probably could have done with being A4, to be honest. That is very, very, very big. I'd almost want to kind of count the pages. It's long. Alright, we'll have a look, proper look at that in just a moment. But we should have also contained within, yes, the all new battle tome and the War Scroll cards as well. There they are, all together at long last. We have waited for new ogres for quite some time. They're finally here. Never have I ever identified with an army so much. Beautiful. Alright, so what have we got? Is this just two? Then we've got a spearhead. We've got all of the... I'm guessing this is just spearheads and spearhead war scrolls. Oh, it's nice that they're all separated, actually. What's all this stuff back here? That's just more war scrolls. Okay, so it's not completely separated. Okay, alright. Makes sense. So, let's have a little looky look, shall we? Inside the battle tome. So I'm pretty sure that this box builds a spearhead, but let's find out. Hungry hordes. Let's go to the spearhead rules. Ah. Lovely. Okay. Right, Moorseeker Mob. That's one spearhead. Maybe there's another one. Because this one is a Butcher, Gorger Moorpack, Cleavers, and Gutseers, which are all things that are not in this box. Maybe there's another one. Nope, same one. Oh, yes, there it is. Ogre Mawtribes Warglut Marauders. One Tyrant, 2 Gluttons, 3 Gluttons, 3 Iron Guts, 1 Maulbeast, 1 Maulbeast. So yes, it does build a spearhead, which is cool. That's good stuff. That's what we like to see. And with some models left over as well. Because, well, they don't print the points in these books anymore, but I wonder if we've got any. Oh, we do. Would you look at that? 1 Tyrant on Gluthorn, so that's a new model that's obviously on the way, and 2 Maulbeast Cavalry, and they can be taken by anyone, including my beloved Stormcast. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. It's a Regiment of Renown. Lovely. Alright, well, we won't go too far into the book. So let's have a look at the instruction manual. Let's get these cards out of the way. It's too distracting. It's too beautiful to look at. Right, so little A5 book. What do we start with? Well, we start with the Tyrant, naturally. Now, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because there's an optional extra there. 8, 9, 10, 11. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 components, but one's optional, so 11. 13, 14, 15. And then we've got variants that we wish to build. So one that's kind of naked, or one that's got the ice pelts on it, which I'm guessing means... Yes. I'm guessing this means that there must be the Beastclaw Raiders. Right, so you can theme it to the Beastclaw Raiders. That would make sense, because the Beastclaw Raiders are still in this book, I believe. let's go and have a quick hunt, shall we, to see if there are actually different variations of a tyrant, because that will impact what it is that we actually build. So let's just go through tyrant. There it is. So tyrant's meat cleavers. Cool. That's it. All right. So there isn't really, but of course you have variations within which to theme it to the Beastclaw Raiders, who should be in here. Yes, there they are. The Frostlord on Stonehorde, Frostlord on Thundertusk, Huskards. The Bloodpelt Hunter is here. Man Trapper. Hunters with saber fangs. More Beast Raiders. Now that's a new thing. Stonehorn Beast Riders. Thundertusk Beast Riders. Red the Moor. Butcher. Cleavers. Gutseers. Gorger Moorpack. The Moor Pit. And that's it. Well, there's a few more things in here as well, actually, because rather than just Beast Claws. Iron Guts, Iron Blaster, Nobblast, Grap Launcher, the Gluttons, Growl Firefist, Tyrant on Gluthorn, Tyrant, Maulbeast Cavalry, Kragnos, and Morga the Mighty, the Over Tyrant. The centerpiece. Oh boy. Okay, so back to the instruction manual. So we can build the Beastclaw Raiders version by giving him pelts, or we can build it without. There is also an option here to give him a hammer or to give him a cleaver. So you can go for double cleaver or double hammer by the looks of things, which is also very cool. Probably going to go for like double cleaver of some description because I just think that looks pretty cool. We just also actually have an optional way to pose our tyrant as well with that blade up rather than two blades down, which is, well, it's pretty nice. And then we've got optionals here. There's a lot of different things that we can do with this tyrant. That's very cool. It's a very customizable kit by the looks of things, including the orientation in which he's standing, so that's great. Then after that we move on to the Iron Guts, where we have interchangeable parts in terms of these tassels by the looks of things, but also these sort of neck armor, I guess, is where that kind of goes. And then it's a case of building one, choosing a champion or just a regular Iron Gut, and then building number 2, maybe? Have we finally started with number 2? Yes, number 2's here. And then he doesn't really have options other than the kind of optional bits to put on the head. Oh, so that's a helmet, actually. It's not neck armor. Okay, great. Lovely. And then build number 3. So there's a bit of optional stuff going on here, but not quite as much as the Tyrant. And then it's on to the Gluttons, where there's interchangeable hammers, interchangeable swords, interchangeable fist weapons as well. There's champion. There should be, I think there's a musician and a banner as well, maybe. So there's champion. We can build 2 of them. And we should be able to just build it as a normal guy as well. There is a musician. There it is. With a big horn. That's nice. Like it. And then there is just your regular Iron Guts. So a lot of interchangeable parts, couple of optional extras as well hidden around, which is nice. Looks pretty cool, to be honest. Let's keep going. Maulbeast Raiders or Maulbeast Cavalry. So yeah, so this can be built one of 2 ways. So if you want to build it for the spearhead, I think it was cavalry that was in the spearhead. Let's have a quick look. In the spearhead. Where have you gone? You are there. It is 2 Maulbeast Cavalry, actually, so it's not Maulbeast Raiders. So 5 Gluttons, yeah, Iron Guts, Maulbeast Cavalry. Just going to quickly check on the Gluttons as well, just to check there isn't any weapon requirements in terms of that build, just to make sure, because that's the last thing we want to get wrong. Glutton weapons, yep, we're fine. So you can just mix and match, hodgepodge all the way through, should you so desire. We do also have for the what were they called? They are the Iron Guts. Literally just saw them and then closed the book. The Iron Guts are also just Iron Gut weapons. Cool. So yeah, no worries there. So we've got the cavalry and the raiders option. So how does that shake out? So Maulbeast Raiders, here we go. So it starts on blue track, and let's see if cavalry is just separate entirely. Maulbeast Cavalry. Yes, it is. So we skip to that page to do the Maulbeast Cavalry or do the Maulbeast Raiders before. So this is probably what we're going to do. But as you can see, quite a few pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're looking at 50 plus components for sure. We've got optional horns and things, and we've got sort of optional antlers for the back of for the backrest of the ogre's cockpit or saddle, I should call it. Yeah, just a couple of different optional parts for the raiders. So I would imagine it's probably going to see the same for the cavalry as well. So we got again interchangeable parts for the heads, which is cool, and the heads are in fact interchangeable as well. We've got variants we want to build over here. So we've got the sort of armored bit and the non-armored bit as well. That's nice. Optional horns, again, same deal as the raiders, and then the body is built up in the exact same normal path, just a normal path. Interchangeable riders, though, that's cool. So that means you would be able to prime them in sub-assemblies, or do them in sub-assemblies if they're interchangeable, which is great. There we go. So we got champion and a Maulbeast Cavalry as well. D68, D69. So interchangeable heads by the looks of things. Yep. And there you go. That's your two. Alright, makes sense. This is a weighty instruction manual, but it's actually pretty easy to digest. So I guess let's have a look at that tyrant, shall we? So here it is then. Sprue number 1, it's the tyrant. And wow, look at this. Well, the weapons already look fantastic. 1, 2, and 3. And we don't have any connection points on any cutting edges of the blades, which is fantastic. Love to see that. 10 out of 10. It's great. Now, one of the things we're going to have to watch out for on the ogres, of course, is going to be that because they're big and they're fleshy and they're half naked. So we're going to have to be looking out for connection points on smooth muscle groups and areas. However, one thing I am spotting immediately is that we don't actually have that issue here at all. We're here on the joint where we're going to be connecting the arm in here and here, and the same over here and here as well. And those aren't going to be up against each other either, so you don't have to worry about kind of an uneven surface when actually sticking the arm in, which is fantastic. Makes this a really, really simple model to clean up, especially if the mold lines are in excellent condition, which they are. They look fantastic, very minimal cleanup over here. So this is already excellent, as is these weapons. Fantastic. We have one of the heads over here. We're connected around the chin in the beard. So again, that's actually just better. It's not on the top of the smooth bald head or anything like that. This one we're connected in the hair and on the underside of the chin again. This one we're on the underside of the chin as well. And that's the other thing we're going to have to watch out for, is not just smooth muscle groupings or indeed the top of bald heads. We're actually going to have to watch out for connection points in fur as well. When we have that, we have to just be very careful how much pressure we're applying with our knife or mold line remover when we're taking that extra bit of plastic off, because we don't want to accidentally erase the detail for those kind of fine areas. So for example, in this beard, you just want to be careful because that'll be nice and textured, but if you apply too much pressure, you end up just smoothing it and flattening it off, which you naturally don't want to do. But mostly everywhere else, here and here, here and here, and any more? Yes, here as well, and here, we're all connected around the outside of hard details, which just makes it super easy to clean up. Here and here as well, same thing. It's all on the armor. This one as well, that's looking great. We've got the two neck joints as well, again connected sideways on the sort of the necklace, which is what actually puts the head on. It's what kind of the head sits on these, which is a really nice way of doing it, rather than trying to kind of line it up with shoulders and things like that. But on that point, there is going to have to be a little bit of kind of just careful assembly when it comes to putting these two halves of the body together, because you don't want to have a big line going across. It is cut down the middle by the looks of things, so that is just something to watch out for. Hopefully things like shoulders and stuff like that will cover it, but we won't know obviously until we've built it. Overall, this is an absolutely fantastic character sprue. I think this is one of the best I've seen. It's brilliant. It's really, really nice. Now, if the internal logic of it is as good as it looks, so for example, like there's component 1, there's component 2, yep, that's looking pretty good. There's 4. So the point I'm making is 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's all in this sort of area. So if it follows that sort of logical line, it makes this a really simple kit to build, because we just move through the numbers naturally, but also we just travel around the sprue in a decent way, rather than component 1 being here and component 2 being over there, which is what sometimes happens. But that is very, very, very good. The Tyrant goes on the 50mm round base. Yep. So that's what we're going to go and dig out from the bag of bases in just a minute. But I guess we should see how long it takes to build this guy. With the Tyrant all done, it's time to move on to the next thing, which is the iron guts. There they are. In fact, here is the Tyrant. I went for basically what they've done on the box art. Just makes my life a little bit easier in terms of painting it. But here is the iron guts, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do what they've done on the box art. So, you get 3 here, and, well, as we always like to do, let's just snap this sprue so we can have a look at each one individually. So here they are. So, first and foremost, one weapon. Cutting edge. Now it's quite a thick cutting edge actually, so it's quite easy to deal with. It's rather than kind of like a fine saber or something, or like a space marine sword. So it's not actually really the end of the world. It's still less than ideal, but it's okay. We can handle that. Like I said, it's quite a thick edge. It's not as kind of pointed as, like I said, those slightly smaller swords. Anyway, that's the only one. This one's fine, and this one is also fine. And there's a big hammer over there as well, which is fine because it doesn't have cutting edges. We have a cleaver here as well. That does not have a connection point on the cutting edge of the blade. And that's what I'm sort of talking about, where it's a much finer, keener edge in terms of the plastic. So this one's all good. So generally fine. We have 1 and 2 of the heads, just with a single connection point on the underside of the head. However, this one we do have a connection point there on the side of the head, so that one's slightly more tricky, and this one is also similar, connected in the beard. So just like with the Tyrant, just have to be careful with how much pressure we're applying with our knife or mold line remover. So we have the bodies, and again, similarly to the Tyrant, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Rather than being connected at that sort of where the elbow is going to go, we are actually in the soft flesh here. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So that one there, just like that, and here as well. So you just want to be on the lookout for that kind of thing. Just being careful again with how much pressure we're applying when it comes to the assembly, because again, we don't want to just take too much off on one side and then end up with that sort of misshapen sort of bit where you glue the 2 pieces together. But should be all right, hopefully, with a fair bit of glue and a mold line remover or a knife. So otherwise, again, just like the Tyrant, mostly we're just on sort of large pieces of armor, like here and here and here, and on the underside of a boot there, underside of a boot there, and we're in a sort of joint of an arm there, so it'll be covered here for the piece of armor, here for a piece of armor, and so on and so forth. It's quite a lot of cool stuff going on there. We do have a couple of things though just to be on the lookout for. So we've got a couple of sort of large bone horns like this one here and this one here, where we are connected on the horn itself. So that's again just applying the right pressure and just moving with the curvature of the piece rather than flattening it off, which we don't want to do, obviously. And no, I think that was it. Oh no, this bag over here as well. Again, just a rounded bit just here, where we just want to move with the curvature of that piece just to make sure we don't accidentally take too much of it off and leave it looking unnatural. So that's pretty good sprue. And here we go. There's the other part of the kit. Just let it focus. There we go. And so this is where we have kind of similar stuff, really, mostly a lot of armor going on here. Now we do have part of an ogre body, obviously, here and here, but we're not really connected in soft flesh over here either, so there's only just a couple of things we have to worry about. But we do have a head here and here, so this one on the underside of the neck, which is fine, well, underside of the chin really, and this one on the side of the head. So this one's better than that one, but it is what it is. You just have to be really careful with it. At least, again, they're not directly on the top of a smooth, bald head. That's okay. When it's in the cheek, it's similar, because, again, you don't want to kind of take too much off, because you'll just end up with a kind of really, really defined sort of jawline on one side and not on the other, because it will be rounded. So that's just why you want to be careful in terms of how much pressure you're applying. And the hammer, really, we're only connected twice, once and twice. That's pretty impressive, honestly. To just not here in the kind of the grip of the weapon, which is great. We're not on the smooth flesh of an elbow or a bicep or anything like that. That's all being covered with armor, which is fantastic. Actually just makes it quite easy on us in terms of the assembly. So ultimately, again, I mean, there's not a huge amount to sort of go through because we've been through the Tyrant, but these kind of feel like the Tyrant. They're quite characterful. They're very cool, and I'm really, really, really excited to build these. I think they just look so fantastic. So our iron guts are built. Here they are. Absolutely fantastic models. They're so nice. I love these very much. They were very, very nice to put together as well. So let's pop them to one side and move on to the gluttons. Now, slightly confusing configuration of the sprues in the box here, because what we have is, as predicted, we have duplicate sprues, but it's not as obvious as it might look. So, for example, there's a double sprue like that, and then there's a double sprue like that. But those are not the duplicates. So we just zoom out a little further. There we go. So there we go. So that's one of our sprues. That's the other joined up one. Doesn't work though. So what we have to do is actually just move it by one, like that. There we go. And then same thing goes over here. This sprue duplicates with that one, and this sprue duplicates with that one. So it's fundamentally the same thing, it's just these ones and these ones are attached, whereas the other two aren't. So in order to build them, we just need that to do 5 of the gluttons. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to just pop this one out of the way for a moment, and we're just going to have a quick look at sprue number 1. Here it is, and we'll go a little closer this time. There we go. So much the same as the 4 ogre models that we've already built so far. We've got exactly the same features. So we're going to be looking out for connection points on the smooth flesh, and we're going to be looking out for heads and cutting edges of blades, and as you can see up here, we're all good on that front, so that's fabulous. Love it. However, for soft flesh, we've got one connection point there, we've got one here as well. It's not quite being hidden by the seam of another piece. We've got another one here, but it is being hidden by the seam of the piece. But then this one up here, we're over on the top of the shoulder and here at the joint as well, so it is present at long last. It's just in the most numerous ones. Down here on this arm is another example. Not armoured, unlike the other 2 sets that we've looked at so far. Connection point there on the wrist bandage, and then here on the actual flesh as well. Same just going on here. Same just going on here as well. So this one's a little bit more tricky. We have to be a little bit more conscious of what we're doing with our knife or mold line remover. Same kind of goes with the head. So here, connection point on the underside of the chin, here on the side of the cheek, here on the top of the head, but inside some hair, so that carries the same issues as like fur and things that we've already talked about. And over here we're on the side of the cheek as well. But we do still continue to have the similar kind of really nice things about this box, where we have connection points on the underside of boots, for example, which just makes it really easy to deal with. And we have connection points on armor panels as well, here and here. This hammer again is also fine. We're here on a bit of a bracer for the hand as well, so that's all good. But yes, this one is more challenging than the other 2 so far. So the other 2 sprues involved in this 5, here they are. Let's just snap them so that we can do this one by one, but again we're going to expect to see the same things. So no connection point on the cutting edge of the blade here or here, which is fantastic. Fist weapons, we're just on the armor here and here as well. Helmets again around the outside. Bodies wise, what have we got? We've got an arm here, we've got a chest there, again just the odd cover. And we've got an elbow there as well, actually. So yes, we've got a little bit more of that sort of connection point on the flesh thing going on. We have one on the side of the cheek here for this head, one on the underside of the neck, on the chin, and on the cheek as well over there. So again, like very consistent so far. There actually hasn't been too much in the way of fur, as it were. Like we had it obviously with the Tyrant, but there hasn't been too much of that going on so far, so we haven't really had to sort of pay attention to it, and that's been quite refreshing, really. I would have kind of just assumed that these would have a lot more fur and a lot more kind of challenge with it, like in those sorts of regards. But again, also mold lines in another fantastically well-conditioned kit for that. And here is the last of the sprues for the gluttons, and again, no connection point on the cutting edge of the blade here or here. This one we do have one just on the side of it, so that one's, you know, don't often see that. That's not as bad as when it's like here, right on the cutting edge. That's just about manageable. That's okay. And then similarly, like we've got the horn over here. We've got to move with the curvature of the piece. Same with like the leather bag here and that kind of thing, and like the trousers and stuff that are scattered around, of course, on the legs of the bodies and stuff. We do actually have, boom, there it is. I knew it was going to appear before too long. A bald-headed ogre with a connection point right on the top of his bald head. So yeah, I knew it was eventually going to appear. Just took a little while. So that's, you know, in some ways praiseworthy. We're here on the chin, here on the top of another bald head there, here on the chin, and here on the chin for this head as well. So it's a mixed bag for the heads. Here on the cheek and here on the cheek as well. So generally speaking, there aren't that many great, very simple heads to do here, but I think we can cover a lot of them with helmets. Alright, well, it's got the similar consistent challenges as the rest of them. A little bit more present on this one, which we kind of expected, really, because, you know, this is the most numerous of the kits, and it can't always be perfect. But it's been pretty fantastic so far for the ogres. Let's see if the gluttons continue with that trend. So naturally we come to the last section of the Ogre Mawtribes army set, and that is the Maulbeast Cavalry. Here they are, 1, 2, and 3 sprues again, and well, farewell instruction manual. Just took a trip to the floor. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 3 sprues, and again we're just going to snap these. There we go. And we're going to look at these one by one. Now, the things that we've talked about as being like potential issues on the rest of the ogres, they're going to be really prominent here because it's cavalry now. So we have a large beast, and that is already borne out. So on the soft flesh of the Maulbeast, we have connection points here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have one up here in the saddle, which is cool. It's good. It's nice. But the rest of these we have to be careful around, just to make sure that we get it nice and smooth and not accidentally flatten it off or anything like that. Now we do have the horns and things as well. They're actually quite segmented. It's not as kind of cramped as it can be on something like a Chaos Warrior, for example. So actually it's not too bad. However, this one is right up against the kind of segment. It's like right up against where that sort of detail is. So again, just be really careful there if you're going to use that one. The same actually goes on the other side as well. So again, right up against the segment. You don't want to smoothen it off too much. So just be careful with how much pressure you're applying. As for like the rest of the details here, well, these do build obviously the 2 different versions of the Maulbeasts. And well, you're going to have a lot of different kind of components that are going to sort of pay into that. So, for example, this bow, for example, that doesn't hit on the cavalry. That goes on the other one, which I've forgotten the name of. Maulbeast Raiders, I think is what they were called. Can't remember. It's down there, but I've dropped the... Hang on.
Yes, it's the Maulbeast Raiders. So there's going to be things like that. So you're not necessarily going to use all of these components everywhere. So like this quiver, for example. But generally, like as has been a theme throughout the Ogre Mawtribes, it's been pretty well attached on the sprue. Now, for example, we have this like sword over here. We're not on the cutting edge of the blade, or indeed the cutting edge of what I think is just full scabbard there, because we've got the rings coming down here, which I think just means it's... No, maybe that is part of the sword. Maybe the rings just help something. I'm not sure. But we are going to be on the lookout for that kind of, all those kind of fleshy areas. And of course, in this case, we're also going to look out for connection points inside fur. Now, we avoid it over here, which is great. And we avoid it over here as well. We avoid it on the beast up there as well. The other thing to point out here, though, is as well that the heads are in two halves. So you have to just watch out for a seam going right down the middle of the head on both the Maulbeasts, here, 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 and here. So it's not like a single piece of a head. Okay, so that's sprue number 1. Sprue number 2. We're going to see the same sort of things here, I'm sure. Yes. All right, so we have one of the Maulbeast cavalry weapons over here, which is no connection points on the cutting edges of blades. Fantastic. We do have a part of a crossbow here. That's not a weapon that has a sharp edge, so that's all good where that's connected. And again, just around on the sort of wood. That is on a sort of soft flesh of the hand, though, which is something we haven't really had to experience so far with everything that we've built so far, because a lot of it has just been armoured, mailed fists and things like that. So that's been okay. But that is one thing to now point out here, if you're going to build the Maulbeast Raiders instead of the cavalry. The actual beast itself, again, 1, 2, 3, 4 connection points on the flesh, and then once up here in the saddle. That's the word I'm looking for. And actually, we've got a bit more of the kind of like the ogre bodies as well. Again, we're avoiding fur over here, which is fantastic. We're avoiding fur over here as well. We're avoiding it here. It doesn't look like we are, but we are avoiding it there. On the bird, which is one of the raiders options, we are avoiding being kind of in the sort of congested areas up here, for example. There's just on the long feather, which is really, really good. And the sort of fur bit here, we actually do, that is the first kind of like fur problem there, that connection point just there, because it's up in the sort of congested area where it's nice and detailed. So again, just don't want to apply too much pressure as we're trying to clean that one up with our knife or mold line remover. Nice. Okay, so we have one more sprue, and it's going to be sort of a bit more of the same, I'm sure. And yes, there we go. So the don't have a connection point on the cutting edge of the blade here, so therefore this has been one of the sort of more consistently good sets of miniatures overall. We have connection points on large horns as well. Again, over here we had that on the other thing, and we have it here as well. Again, the thing to point out here is these are actually much smoother. It's not as kind of segmented and detailed as the other ones. It is going to be a little bit tricky to get that nice and round, but that should be okay if you just move with the curvature of the piece. We have Maulbeast as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the body. 1, 2, 3 in the body, and then 1 and 2 in, well, 3 there in the saddle. Well, 1, 2, and 3 total. You get it. We have the Maulbeast is its head horns actually is making an appearance over here as well. Again, quite segmented. So this is where we kind of talk about the when it's congested in there, it becomes a little bit more tricky. But again, just be very careful. Move away from the segments rather than towards the segments, because otherwise you end up kind of taking off the edge of the one above where it's actually clipped on with your knife. So overall, it's pretty decent. We have one of the ogre's heads just here, and we have another one just there as well. This one is on the top of the head, but that's going to be covered by a helmet, I'm assuming. Yes, it looks like that's one of those ones that's going to be covered by a helmet. Where do we have any more heads on that one? Yes, we do. We have a bald head on that one, which has got a connection point right on the top, so boo, don't like that. Maybe that can be covered by a helmet. I'm not sure how many helmets we actually have available to us in this one. Nearly dropped the instruction manual again. We've got at least one, which I've seen. Yes, there's one helmet. Maybe there's another one. And if we want to, we could probably borrow one from the gluttons, to be fair. Because there is a bunch spare. Yeah, no, I can only see one at the moment. Okay. Oh no. This would be one that comes into halves, so the other half will be somewhere. And there's the other the Maulbeast horns as well. So there we go. All right, nice. Well, lovely. It's looking cool. I think overall this has been a really strong set of sprues. It's really been good. There has been a kind of little bit of a lengthy time to build these things, but that's because they are much chunkier miniatures. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the model count for such an army should be pretty low. But we shall find out, of course, in due time whenever the points get announced. So let's go and see how long it takes to build a Maulbeast cavalry. There you have it, Ogre Mawtribes army set all built. How much of it have we painted? Well, yes, we've completed the Ogre Tyrant here, and I just think this is a fantastic model, and I want to get my hands on a second one to do the other slight alternative posing, looking the other way with a different head and probably with the big speary type thing, because I really like this guy. I think it's a fantastic model. We've also done the Iron Guts, who are, I think, for me, are probably the highlight of this entire box, particularly this chap here striding forwards with his giant glaive type weapon. It's just absolutely beautiful. I love it so very much. They're very characterful, very cool, and they definitely have a sort of more elite look to them versus the Gluttons, who I've also done. We've done 5 of them. We've got the other 5 in storage for now. We'll get to them eventually. But yeah, again, just another really fun set of miniatures to put together and paint, and I think they look fantastic. Just, oh, they're so big, so chunky, so gorgeous. Lovely stuff. Yeah, we've done 3 out of the 4 units. I'm pretty impressed with that progress, to be honest. This week we have continued to be in the heat zone here in the UK, so it's been very unpleasant up here to try and work through this stuff, but I really wanted to, having done the Tyrant first during the sort of the cooler hours of the morning. I was like, let's just push through, and obviously we haven't done the Maulbeast cavalry, so we're leaving them till last. I'm working on them later on this afternoon, but we've left them till last because they are that bit bigger, and because it is so stupidly hot up here and has been all week, it's just made sense to leave them till last because of the amount of blending that's going to go on there, just to make that life a little bit easier for me in terms of doing that and making sure you get the best possible video. So that's why we've left them till last, but I'm excited to do them because they're huge. They're so big and they look fantastic. So I'm looking forward to getting my brushes on them. So what do we think of the Ogre Mawtribes army set? Well, I think as a kind of jumping off point for what is about to be a lot of new ogre stuff, it's incredible. And if the quality of this continues through all the stuff that's yet to come, like Red the Moor and Thorga, I think is her name, the big one, the Tyrant on Gluthorn, and all that kind of thing. If this kind of quality continues throughout, this will be one of the best ranges that Games Workshop has ever made. Now, I think that comes down to a number of things. One, everything is quite large, so the pieces feel a lot easier to sort of deal with. But the quality of the sprues here in the army set was spectacular. Building these things, whilst it takes a bit of time, because again, they are quite big, it's not a difficult build in any stretch of the imagination, which is really good. And often we talk about time being one of the sort of the markers of how good these are. But if you compare something like, I don't know, like a Victrix Honor Guard, who are smaller in their profile, but they're as detailed, if not a little bit more detailed. But when that takes 20 minutes versus these guys who are a bit bigger and a little bit more impactful, and they take 20 minutes, it kind of balances out and it feels okay. So in that regard, like, building this set is pretty fun to do, honestly. Like, you don't have a huge amount in this set. It would have been nice to have even more stuff in here. Just more gluttons, more iron guts, more of everything. But I genuinely think this is amongst the set of sprues that I've enjoyed the most looking at and putting them together as well. And that might be something to do with just watching it come together and the prospect of where it could potentially go in terms of building out an army of this. I don't know any of the points at this stage, so I don't know how big of an army this is in the book. I do know that this is the contents of a spearhead, and those are usually sort of roughly anywhere between 400 and 700 points at times. But this is a decent chunk, I think, and I do want to do a bunch more. We'll have to wait and see when things like, Read the More and all that comes out later. And, of course, to have a look at the points and look at what an army of this can actually potentially look like. But points-wise, this is going to be really, really intriguing in terms of getting this together, because not only are they really, really fun to put together, and they're really, really, really fun to paint, if you don't have to do that many to get to the point of where you can play a really strong list, that's even better in my eyes. So, fundamentally, just fantastic from the ground up. There's obviously a couple of challenges that we talked about throughout the video, and this is just the things that we sort of always see on a model like this, particularly on cavalry, like with horses and things, where you have those sort of connection points on the smooth flesh. But really, it's just kind of like those are areas for improvement. You know, we have seen it with things like the Chaos Knights in recent times, where they've been attached to the sprue really, really, really well, and you know, they've been really good, and we've not had to deal too much with cleanup on the kind of smooth flesh and stuff. So there's a little bit of improvement to be made here, obviously, in terms of the cleanup in that regard, but realistically, it's just a nice, joyful build, and it's so nice to see that they're getting a lot of love here in Age of Sigmar, and that's great. I'm really, really, really into that. So ultimately, there's going to be a pretty high score for this one, because there's not too much to go into in terms of like critical elements of these sprues. Even if there were connection points on the cutting edges of blades and things like that, the blades are so big and thick that actually it's not going to be too much of a problem. There's a couple of smaller blades, like a butcher's cleaver here and there, where it would be an issue, but on like the big swords and like the two-handed weapons and things, the edge is so thick it doesn't matter, which is what just makes things even easier. Of course, we do have to pay special attention to things like the heads. You know, they're not connected great, but a lot of them you can cover up with helmets. Again, it's like the models kind of figure out their own problems and provide solutions for them, which is a really nice way of this kit going together. Now, there is a couple of little instances where I was building in a bit of a rush, and there's a couple of little gaps around the back on some of the muscles, but that's user error rather than the kit's error, I think, because it's just me trying to go fast. Because generally it's either a case of like one of them just looks fantastic and the other one's got a little bit of a gap, and that's not because of them, it's because I was trying to go fast. So yeah, ultimately user error we will take into account, obviously, a little bit, because that kind of pays into the sort of how skillful the builder is. In my regard, not very, but I just genuinely I think these are fantastic, and with a bit of sprue goo I'm sure it would be fine, a bit of green stuff. So yeah, look, there's the odd little bit here and there, as there is with all of these sprues. We're never ever going to find a 10 out of 10, I'm sure, but ultimately this army set is just fantastic and wonderful, and I'm really excited for the future of Ogor Mawtribes. I really want to play with these guys and just check out how destructive they possibly can be on the tabletop, because reading the book it's like, oh my goodness me, this is very, very, very good, but obviously in practice it might not be so we'll have to wait and see on that front. Of course, points dependent. Anyway, what we're going to give this set overall, I'm going to give this set a 9 out of 10. I genuinely love this so very much, and I want to do even more. I've got 5 gluttons left I can build. I'm going to try and knock them together at some point in the coming weeks and months, and just kind of get a real good solid core of an Ogor Mawtribes army together. So I'm really, really excited by this one. But yeah, 9 out of 10 on the Land Raider scale. Genuinely a real bright spot, I think, at the end of what's been quite a difficult couple of weeks here at Warhipster Towers, just because of the heat and trying to get through getting the content out and getting stuff built and painted. It's been tough, but these guys have been enough of an motivation to get to do that, if you see what I mean. it's like, it's been really unpleasant, but it's been worth it because I'm so pleased with them and how they've come out. So yeah, great stuff and wonderful, wonderful army set. Thoroughly recommend for anyone who wants to dip their toes into Age of Sigmar. And of course, we've got all that painting content coming on the way for you very, very soon. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's just all smiles around here for Ogre Mawtribes. I love it. I'm just so pleased. It's great. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one, I guess.
If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/Warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you, I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.
Mm-hmm.